everyone, welcome back to the Pitlane Formula One podcast. I'm your host, Sam DeBrew, joined by the king of the north. It is the man himself, Mr. Jacob Wilson. Hello, Jakey.
Hello, mate. How are we doing? What a race we had. Jesus.
Well, let's just dive in to the absolute, just massacre.
Where do we even start?
Yeah, the absolute massacre that was Baku. So it was a race where we saw Sergio Perez, the man himself, pick up the win. In second place, who would have guessed it? Sebastian Vettel, and in third place, Monsieur Pierre Gasly. And that's actually such a nice podium. That's actually a lovely fucking podium. That is brilliant.
Just before we get into anything, I think one of us called the race winner, didn't they?
Did you call it?
I did, yeah.
Did you call it?
Yeah.
I didn't realise you called it.
Yeah.
Oh, well done. I think I said a Mercedes 1-2, didn't I? I went safe. And Bottas,
I can't remember.
Bottas and Hamilton fighting with Williams in the end. Oh, well, okay. What's that? I think you're 2-0 up on me.
I think that's my first one. I'm not sure though.
I think you called Verstappen in I think you called Verstappen in Monaco, didn't you?
Oh no, I went for Leclerc and he didn't start.
Oh, did you?
So.
I went with Danny Rick. I'm an idiot. Right, so let's get stuck in. So Sergio Perez, to be fair, all day on the Sunday and bits of he deserved it, really, didn't he?
Yeah, I think on another day. I mean, I know we'll get into driver of the days later, but I think on another day, he'd get it, wouldn't he? Because where did he qualify? Was it about 5th, 6th?
Let me just check quali.
Perez was done in 6th. Yeah, so I mean, to win from there, I mean, I know quite a few things went off that that fell in his favour, but yeah, solid race from him. You can't really
complain. Yeah. I mean, with Verstappen, which is everyone would have seen, Verstappen's puncher, or to the Pirelli tyre problems that were happening with not only Verstappen but with Stroll also. Verstappen leading the race has failure with his tyres and goes into the wall. Pretty certain that was when it was red flagged, wasn't it? And then Perez took the lead. Hamilton in second. Hamilton, all season, I've seen maturity from Lewis Hamilton. If you know what I mean, I've seen him he knows. Okay, I don't have to fight this one because I know in 2-3 laps time I can get him again. This isn't a problem. He just sent it at the start at the restart. Just absolutely put all of his eggs in one basket and cost himself the race and finished in 15th. We'll keep talking about the top 3, but Perez, I think, also because the Red Bull looks so quick, I think Perez could have held him off anyway, regardless of him going wide at turn 1. I reckon Perez would have been fine.
Well, into that first corner, Lewis. Well, I mean, off the restart, Lewis looked to have had him if it wasn't for. I can't remember what they said it was now. I think something was switched on to heat the brakes up.
Yeah, with the smoke from the start.
I mean, you could tell, couldn't you, before he set off?
I thought the car was on fire.
Oh, interestingly, I don't know if you heard this. But with the red flag, initially it seemed as though the stewards were just going to allow it as a safety car, but Red Bull got over on the radio to the FIA saying you need to red flag this because this is going to happen to somebody else.
Yeah,
because the tyres were supposed to last 40 laps, and you had Stroll and Verstappen, their tyres blowing up after about 30, 31 or so laps on those tyres.
Yeah,
so it holds a massive question mark.
The hard tyre looked the go-to tyre. But pretty much every team was on the hard tyre. Then just that was when after Stroll, was it debris? Was it the tire failure? I think Pirelli made a case that it was a bit of debris on the track, and then with Verstappen, it kind of confirmed, okay, these tires are going to explode any second.
Yeah.
So I think it was the smart decision to actually red flag the and bear in mind, look where he crashed. It was literally probably the worst. I mean, I thought Stroll crashed in a bad place. Literally the pit lane entry, that down the main straight. Yeah, of course, red flag the session. I think it would have been the smart decision to do that. Let's talk about. Oh no! You go. You fire ahead, sir.
Did you hear Leclerc over the radio as well? Because he was coming up to where Verstappen's car was at pretty much full speed because I think at that point he was fairly close, him and Gasly, and they were being told that they were still racing. They were so late on them yellow flags.
That's what you're going 200 miles per hour down there, down that main straight.
Yeah, and then
with DRS as
you
well.
have to ask yourself, you can't just. It's safer to slow down, but if you're being told you're still racing and then somebody flies past you because they're like, "Well, I'm not going to slow down. I don't see any yellow flag."
Yeah, well, you're not going. Yeah, you don't want to lose position.
Yeah, it was just absolute anarchy. I just found it so ironic as well that Stroll was the one waiting for the safety car, which seemed inevitable after qualifying, and he was the one who caused it. Obviously not his fault.
That's the thing. Because when did he crash? I forget the lap.
It was at lap 30, something like that.
And the safety car is always inevitable around Baku. So I was like, oh, we're going to get a safety car. We're going to get a safety car at some point. And as the race was going on, I was actually thinking, oh, I think everyone's behaving. I think the tyres seem to be okay. Pirelli have said you get 40 laps out of them. Brilliant. And then, lo and behold, the man himself, Sir Lancelot, crashes into a wall, causes a safety car. I was like, okay, now things are getting... Okay, here we go. I don't want to wish harm upon any driver. Glad he got out okay, but that's when this stuff happens, then it's like, okay, now things are going to get interesting.
It's all tight again.
Yeah, and now let's talk about a man who... Did you think, if you were to give a prediction on this race, how many times would it have taken you to put Vettel P2? Would you have even guessed it?
I don't know. I don't think I could have ever called that. To be honest, it's incredible that we've had a race this season. I know we got one last season, but we've got a race where none of Verstappen, Hamilton, or Bottas make the podium.
That was that Monza? Or was
where Gasly took the win last season.
Yeah,
it was Gasly, Sainz, Stroll, wasn't it?
I want to say so. Yeah,
it's just nice to look at, isn't it?
It's just it's
refreshing.
It reminds us that these guys actually there's some racing involved. It's not just track position is king, and let's just watch people go around for 50 laps. And hey, it's kind of nice as well. I know the Verstappen Hamilton fight now, especially because Hamilton didn't capitalize on it. It's like, okay, now this is actually going to get interesting. But let's not forget, there's other drivers on the grid who can win a race.
Yeah, tell you what, though, Vettel had a brilliant race, even regardless of the finish. Like some of the overtakes he was pulling off of restarts and off the start of the race.
Vintage. I'm gonna say it now. He's my driver of the day. He's the driver of the day by a clear mile. It was just so nice to see. I mean, he had a good race in Monaco. And now he's had a phenomenal race in Baku. To hopefully, I mean, this could be now Aston Martin's charge to kind of be best of the rest almost. I don't know if they need both drivers putting in consistent finishes. But apart from, I think it's one of the best performances I've seen in a long time from a driver. Ooh, big crack. One of the best performances I've seen from a driver. And now let's move on to our French friend. Man who said the man who Red Bull didn't want. Let's put him in an AlphaTauri and he'll get more podiums.
He's just.
It's a joke. I actually think Pierre Gasly is just, in a good way. He's ridiculous.
He's so good.
Where was this at Red Bull?
I know. It's such a shame, isn't it? I'm so desperate for him to get in a better drive. I just don't know where. I just don't know where he goes though, because he gets every single ounce out of that car. I mean, the battle that he had with Leclerc after that final restart, where they got like 2 laps in at the end, it looked like as soon as Leclerc had got round him, I thought, oh, that's such a shame for him. But then to fight back and then take the podium, yeah, he's insane.
I do kind of feel a bit sorry for Leclerc considering he put it on pole, but now you say a better drive. Obviously, yeah. From the outside looking in, AlphaTauri isn't the best. Let's say it's not one of the top tier cars, but he keeps getting into Q3s. He qualified. I think he qualified well. He qualified
4th, I think.
Yeah, put it off. Like the car is really good. I mean, the team hasn't got the history behind it, but the car itself is actually. He's putting that car to the absolute limit. Beating Ferraris, beat the Ferrari of Sainz and the Red Bull of Perez, and that's an AlphaTauri. Which I mean, it's a little Toro Rosso managing to get into Q3s. I think he does deserve a better team, but AlphaTauri are actually the team itself are getting better, as well as
Well, they both seem
to. A good price.
Yeah, he did. I think he kind of went under the radar a little bit. Nice to see him get some points. They both did well in practicing and qualifying. I think was it P3, or maybe it wasn't P3. Well, Gasly topped the charts in P3. I'm sure there was one where. Maybe I'm blanking, but yeah, that car does seem to have improved. But then, yeah, just Gasly's just. I'm just so desperate to see him in a car where he can challenge for titles, but there's just so much competition up the top end.
Yeah.
There's other drivers like George Russell that you'd imagine have got like a bit of a guarantee of going to like a Mercedes. Although I don't think it'd be outside the realms of possibility. If say for example, if we get our predictions in and Russell does take Bottas's seat come the end of this season, would you see Gasly getting into the frame once Hamilton decides to retire, or do you think they'd look for somebody else?
You know what's strange? Every time I do a career mode on F1, Gasly goes to Mercedes. just putting that out there. That's the question. When I reckon Hamilton, how many years has Hamilton got? Do you reckon?
Well, there were talks of him retiring end of last season, end of this season.
I think he's told Toto he wants to do 2022.
Yeah.
So I think it's a question of Hamilton. I mean, that's the only driver I can see retire. I mean, Raikkonen's going to retire, but Gasly's better than Alfa Romeo. It's a weird one. I hope he does get a better seat. I mean, even no, you can't. I'm trying to think of avenues where he can go, and I don't think it'd happen. I mean, but at the moment, you getting your podiums with AlphaTauri, and do it. I mean, he's making a great case for himself.
He is, yeah. He's definitely putting himself in the window if any teams start to look for a new driver.
Let's talk about our pole sitter who eventually finished 4th, Charles Leclerc. Ferrari being Ferrari, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ferrari.
both seem they both seem to do well again in like the practices and the qualifying, and then just didn't seem to have the race pace either of them. I know Sainz had that mistake, but yeah, it just seemed that once the race got going, they would dropping down the standings. I think he managed to keep Hamilton behind him for a couple of laps, didn't he? But past that, it were.
I think he got overtaken by Hamilton, and then no, I think was it no, yeah, he was because he was doing Hamilton a favour really. He was holding up Verstappen for a few laps, but then Verstappen managed to get past. But I think then Gasly, and it's just like I do think qualifying wise that Ferrari's got serious pace, and then when it comes to the race, it kind of dips slightly, and it's weird because Sainz. I wouldn't say Sainz is so. I mean, on the outside looking at it, it seems like he's not quite up to Leclerc's pace. But when it comes to like the cars around, I mean, he kind of beat off Ricciardo for 8th. Wasn't quite quick enough for Tsunoda in front. I mean, I've just realised as well who came. I mean, Alonso, that's just gone under the radar. What a drive from him. I'm just thinking of people who've had a great race. I mean, that Ferrari car, it's just not. This is where I think maybe McLaren might beat them in the long run, where the race pace isn't as strong as their quality. I mean, if they keep putting it on pole and finishing 4th or getting 3rd, I mean, there can't be too. I don't think they'll win a race, but I think they are shoo-ins for a lot of podiums. Let's talk Lando. From having that penalty and then still managing to finish 5th.
What did you make of the penalty?
I think people wanted it to be more harsh, or people.
I think it's kind of split people, and I can definitely see both sides of it. It's I mean, given that the accident was turn 15, so right at the end of the lap, him ducking away from the pit, it wasn't dangerous, because I think it was technically it was against rules. But if you think like coming down that straight, 200 miles an hour, and then suddenly, just as you're about to reach the pit lane, you're getting told over the radio, come in, it's red flag. It's a and they're not the easiest pits to guide yourself into when you're going at high speed. It's quite a harsh turn at speed.
Yeah,
and I think the reason that I think they mentioned it on Sky, that the reason that he's been punished is because he seems to slow down and then he speeds back up to take it back onto the track.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit harsh to put it on his super license.
Yeah.
I think the penalty was enough. 3-place grid penalty.
Yeah, penalty's enough. To put it on that, I think that's a bit much.
It tells the drivers, look, don't do this.
Yeah. I mean, if that's how's Mazepin still? How is he still allowed to drive?
Did you hear
the spin?
He did. Bless him. Did you hear the thing that Schumacher said over the radio?
Yeah, he cut him off, didn't he?
Yeah, he was weaving all over the place as Schumacher got his overtake on him at the very last minute. And I think Schumacher is probably one of about at least 10 people that's asked if Mazepin's trying to kill him this season.
I mean, I saw the clip of him, I think it was in F2, where someone is about to go around the outside of him and he's actually forced this person, like, he's weaved so much to the point where this person could go into a wall. And he's been allowed to drive in F1. I just don't get. What
he reminds me of, what Mazepin's driving reminds me of is, like, when you're playing the F1 game and somebody's pissed you off
he would
behind
come to
you.
life in unranked.
He would.
He would come to life in unranked. Right, so yeah, Lando P5, good job from him. We've got Alonso P6, good points all for Alpine. Elijah, do you want to say anything about Mr. Alonso?
Yeah, I just think he's got a decent amount of points this season for what's to expect from him. I think it's still hard to pin down, I reckon, like where that car should be on performance, but 11th in the standings for Alonso. You've got Ocon directly behind him in 12th. I think, yeah, he's been solid again.
Just a solid race, yeah. We touched on him briefly. Sonoda P7. Better from him. Better from him. I think.
Yeah.
He had a better race out this time around.
Yeah, again, I think he's sort of he's having. I think he's having a good rookie season. I think he's made a couple of mistakes in the earlier races, but yeah, I don't think you can expect too much from him this season.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can see a bit of progression again from him next season.
Also touched on Sainz, P8. That's not bad go, considering where he was actually, because I want to say he locked up, and then he went off into the kind of lay-by area, had to reverse back out, and I want to say that put him in 14th, maybe even lower.
I can't remember now actually where that put him, but yeah, I think he did well to sort of bring them back. But
yeah, he clawed back and got P8.
I think he'd have been disappointed though with that at the start of the weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he put it. I want to say he put it 6th or 5th. Put it 5th on the grid in qualifying. So I think would have been disappointed if he hadn't have kind of just got a points finish. I think. Ricardo P9, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
he was 13th, crashed out in Q2.
Again, that's another one where it's like, if you look at it on one hand, he's made up 4 positions, but on the other, he shouldn't really be qualifying 13th in the first place.
Yeah, shouldn't be there.
So it's another mixed one from him.
I mean, a positive note for Alfa Romeo. I mean, another points finish for them, even though it's kind of only P10. It's still a positive look on the team. Raikkonen coming P10.
They've doubled their points, all right? Don't knock it.
I think they've secured 8th.
Oh, I'll tell you what, though. Massive news in terms of the constructors, as Haas have overtaken Williams this weekend.
I could cry.
They're both on 0 points, but I saw a lovely little graphic that F1 posted, and it was the constructors table, and it had all these red and green arrows on who overtaken who, and I just found it hilarious that it had Haas overtake Williams, and they're both sat on 0 points.
Yeah, that's a big battle there, though.
Gunter will be knee sliding around his living room.
We've kind of touched upon Hamilton 15th. That just a weekend to forget for him. But someone I actually kind of want to focus on, because I had a prediction a few weeks back saying that Bottas would be dropped mid-season for Russell, and I stand by it 100% now. This man's gone. I want to make this clear. This man is done at Mercedes. Even if he makes it to the end of the season, he has lost his seat. It's done.
Yeah. How can he justify finishing that far down with little to no problems? It was an awful qualifying. He was getting done on the restart by who was it that did him on the restart? I think it was Raikkonen, Danny Rick. I think he lost like 3 places off that final restart. I can't remember who it was that got through. But he got overtaken. Oh, in fact, no, it was both Alfa Romeos did him, didn't they? Off the restart.
Yeah, both Alfa Romeos done him.
How?
It's just poor. It's really poor from Bottas.
He just
can't justify it.
I mean, I know Hamilton finished lower down than him, so it could seem hypocritical. But he never had a massive issue like what Hamilton had.
Yeah.
The only thing that was going against him was that the position that he was starting after the red flag, a lot of the other cars had fresher tyres on than him.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have been there in that car.
Mm.
It just,
I think
yeah.
he's gone. To be honest, I actually do think he's gone.
I tell you what, I think on merit, I think that the best thing might be to drop him mid-season. But I think as a point of principle, so that it doesn't embarrass him too much, I think they'll keep him until the end.
Yeah.
Because also you've got to think Mercedes have got the constructors trying to claw back. Will they stick with what they've got, which has been in formula for them and got them so many constructors titles, or are they going to risk throwing George Russell in and having him have to get to grips with this new car whilst they're chasing the constructors?
I mean, even when he had just a weekend with the car, he nearly won the race.
Well, yeah.
Like that's the thing. He was really unlucky with a really bad pit stop. Apart from that,
Yeah.
he would have beat Bottas on his first race in a car he was not like used to. I think he will get. I think if Bottas comes 10th again or doesn't have a points finish in for like another 3-4 races, I reckon he'll get dropped.
What week is it that the mid-season changes happen? We can't be a million miles from that now.
I think. Well, when we go on that really big break, I want to say after Hungary, there's a 3-week break.
Yeah, it's probably that then, isn't it?
After Hungary, there's a 3-week break at the start of August, and then the next. So 1st of August is the Hungarian Grand Prix, and then Belgium is on the 27th of August. So not more than 3 weeks. My maths is right.
How many races is that? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It gives him 5 races to prove
Get his gut
himself.
together. Yeah. So he's got France next. I mean, as much of a dull race that is, Mercedes are usually fine around there. I honestly think if he has a DNF and or comes like below, if he comes like 8th or 9th, Toto Wolff is going to come out and say something and be like, "Yeah, he needs to get his act together."
Well, he already does near enough.
There's this thing like, yeah, probably blamed Bottas for Hamilton's lockup. But yeah, it's a shame because I think he comes across really well, Bottas, but he needs to be a good driver if you want to
Yeah,
drive.
well, yeah, I get what you're saying there, but there's just there's so many
There's so much
people.
risk in it.
There's so many people who deserve a better drive than what they've got currently. So when you've got so many people that want your seat, you've got to stand up and say, well, this is why I deserve it.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the Drivers' Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Verstappen is still in the lead by 4 points.
How it's
Only 4 though, so
yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because what position was Lewis when Hamilton crashed? He was P3, wasn't he?
or when Verstappen crashed,
Yeah.
he was in second.
Was he?
Oh no. So yeah,
I'm sure
Perez.
Perez
It
was
made him.
second.
It made him go second after. Yes, he was
Yeah.
finishing P3.
So that would have been an extra. He would have pulled an extra 10 points out on him had he
Yeah.
not crashed. I mean, that's assuming that it finishes in the order that it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, 14 points. That would have been. That would have been a sort of like gap where Verstappen can start to not relax, because you can never be relaxed when you're battling for a title. But I was talking, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, that he needs to. I feel like he kind of needs to build a decent lead on Lewis to start to think, right, it's going to happen. I'm going to make this happen now.
Yeah.
To stop him from looking over his shoulder all the time. Going into another week where it's 4 points, I mean, I guess it's better than him not finishing and Hamilton taking big points and overtaking him again. But I feel like that crash has had fairly big ramifications for the championship.
I think.
Could you imagine if that costs him in the end?
Verstappen or Hamilton?
Well, either.
That's the. I think
if it's close, if it's within 10 points at the end of the season, those two incidents.
You can't make mistakes. You can't make mistakes in these types of battles. Verstappen got let off the hook, I think, in Baku. He got let off the hook. If Lewis came home in second, then
the difference is though, Verstappen's wasn't his fault. It's just the tyre exploded.
It was Pirelli just, going, "Hey, fancy a puncture?"
I remember how much fun Silverstone was last year.
Oh,
do you want to repeat?
Oh. I mean, that was brilliant because that made I was like, okay, if Lewis Hamilton is about to have a battle on three wheels, that is racing. I was so ready for that. My body was ready to watch Verstappen catch him and see if Lewis can hold out for the win. See if we get a photo finish. But he was, to be fair, too far ahead, and it was kind of easy. But that was just it's moments like that where I was just like, that's why I love F1, because it was like, oh, imagine if Lewis has to fight on three wheels. That's brilliant. But going at 200 miles per hour around Baku, yeah, you can't have a puncher because there's only one place you're going. Yeah. And that's going into a wall. But it'll be interesting, I think, to see who's going to be quickest in France. I don't really know who would be. I can't call it anymore. My race winner is probably going to be Mazepin. I can't call it anymore. I don't know who to say. I don't think it'll be a Ferrari. I feel like they're better on street circuits.
I don't know. I don't really know what to go for my next one. Do you know? Are we doing predictions now?
Yeah, let's do a prediction.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna manifest something just because I've got one right this week, so I feel like if I put it out there, it might happen. George Russell points.
Okay.
It's not happening. It's not happening, but I want it.
That's all right.
We could all dream.
I'm gonna go with bold prediction. Bold prediction for me. I'm gonna go France. It's a bit of a dull one. For me personally. Is it bold if I say it? No, it's not really that bold. I'm gonna go with another Gasly podium.
I like that.
My race winner will be Max. My podium is Max, Lewis, Gasly.
For a race winner, I'm going to go with someone to get struck down with COVID, and Grosjean to step in and take the race win.
Huh? Huh? Someone to come down with COVID and Grosjean wins. No, if someone has COVID, there's only one man who answers the call, and that's the Hulk. He comes in, he's standing there waiting.
He's got every set of team overalls in his
which
wardrobe.
Is it the French Grand Prix where Grosjean's allowed to drive the Merc?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's doing testing or something.
Okay. Go on. Yeah. All right. You have that.
We'll still get that call before Van Dorn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Gasly podium finish, but Max to win it, Lewis second, and then Gasly third.
Ooh. if I'm going for a race winner, I'll play safe and go Lewis. But my bold prediction is
Grosjean.
let's it's Grosjean, yeah. Let's get my boy George Russell in some points. He deserves it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right, yes, that is the French Grand Prix. When is that? That will be. So yeah, the Emirates French Grand Prix is on the 20th of June. Day off. Oh, your birthday. Yeah, on the day before. Do you have a pie? An F1 themed pie?
Quali round yours. Come round mine for the race.
Proper Mazepin deliver the cake and fall over. Rightio. So we will see you next time for the Emirates French Grand Prix, but that is all from us today. Thank you for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.